Alright, so for those of you just tuning in, we're about to spectate a 2v2 on the map MegaRandom between my higher rated viewers. Yes, Jomnal is actually above 1800 rated. This is going to be a great match. This is of course part of my weekly Twitch TV live streams. If you want to get in on this, you can find my live streaming schedule by going to my Twitch page and scrolling underneath the video player there. And if you follow me on Facebook and Twitter, you'll get updates on when I'm streaming next. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the game. GLHF. Yeah, if you're wondering how many breaks I take, it's clearly written on the screen as I do them. So yes. It looks like we've got Malay, Turks, Magyars, and Burmese. So nothing but DLC civilizations. And of course, MegaRandom is a map where anything is possible, and lo and behold, we were talking about this in the lobby before the game started. It looks like it's a nomad map where players start without a town center, and they're going to have to build one. So, let's take a moment to introduce the players. Looks like it's a nomad-style map. This looks like it's a capture the relic map. What the hell is this? 2 llamas in the middle? What? This looks like there should be a relic here, some sort of, at least a gold mine or something, or like 10 relics? This would actually be an interesting, well-designed map if there were 10 relics in the middle, so... No idea what to think about that, but at least this map has llamas. Thank you so much, Dilbert UK, for the 17-month resub. We've got Aoe2 playing as the Teal Malay, teaming up with Jomnal playing as the Purple Magyars. On the opposing team, it's Leo EK playing as the Blue Turks, and Memoriam playing as the Red Burmese. Interesting, interesting. Malay, Magyars versus Turks and Burmese. Nothing but DLC says. Llamas actually do have a 1 extra tile line of sight over most herdable animals, which actually makes them excellent for scouting, so this map will be significantly less frustrating to play. One of the things that these players might mess up is that you do need to build a house almost immediately if you're playing on Nomad. It looks like indeed Leo will be doing that right off the bat. I think that might be catching these players off guard. We'll have to see. Jomnal doing some great little llama micro, but he is going to build his town center. So let's take a look at their town center placements for a minute here. Are these teams split up? No, they're not, so they're just divided between here and here. So, what's nice about Jomnal's map is that actually his main gold mine is right up along the edge. Now, this is very difficult to saturate, having only 3 tiles of gold exposed. So that's going to be tricky for him to deal with, but he should be fine. Overall, though, I think the safety is more important. He also has 4 deer that are very close by. He doesn't even need to push them in the town center. Not that he has a scout to do it with, so overall I think his map is great. He doesn't really have an easy way to close this off. I mean, I guess... Actually, honestly, this isn't that expensive to close off. So something you should consider. These players, if they've done any scouting, will know that this is kind of a water map, and they should be communicating that to their teammates, and it looks like they are. So I think Leo's going to build a house here, and then probably build a dock at some point, get some fishing ships out. Yes, that looks like that's what everybody is up to. So I really like Jomnal's map. I think it's rock solid. So look at his teammate's map, Aoe2. This gold is terrible. It's at the front of his base, so it's very easy for his opponent to harass this. And it's at a hill, so Leo's going to come in. He's going to have archers over here, for example. You're going to have to be defending uphill. That will be hard to do. Now, granted, he can use this as part of a makeshift wall-off, but he does not have a safe gold. His other gold is at the front, so I really don't like Twest's map. These deer are also forward. Overall, this map is absolute hot garbage. And what is his opponent's map? Oh yeah, sorry, Turks are AOC civilization. Tired today. They feel like a DLC civ to me because I never see them actually picked in my viewer games, but they got random today. Now Turks are they're an AOC civ, or Age of Kings civ, sorry. Yeah, they're Age of Kings. They're one of the oldies but goodies. Feast or famine civilization. So his gold is at the front too. Both of his gold mines. Leo has... This is a lot of gold, though. Stones at the front. Does have 1 safe stone at the back. I mean, overall, I think that this is really easy for him to close off, whereas Twest, like, you would have to wall from here to here if he actually wanted to close that off, which is honestly not bad. So everybody's map is kind of wallable, and I think that both of these players' maps is bad, but Twest is worse. Memoriam's map... And once again, all these players have to deal with... The thing is they got to choose where they built their town center, so we have to give credit to Jomnal for building it further away from the middle of the map. That way his town center is not so close to the shoreline that it can actually be raided, like this could be killed by cannon galleons. It's good to see, though, that everyone put their town center actually right up to the tree line to save them some wood in a lumber camp. It's pretty big for your early eco. This is a back gold. While this isn't the safest gold, this is actually fine, and this gold over here is okay too, and I think he has a pretty easy wall off. So, but overall, since Jom Nal's map is so insane, I would say that it kind of balances out that Twest is not that great. And it being a nomad map with a large lake in the middle, I'd expect to see some fishing ships to bolster that early economy. About 4 fishing ships to sustain villager production and stockpile just a little bit of food. It can be like having a second town center in the early game. It can be a very big boost. You want to prioritize, though, gathering from fish that aren't shorefish because fishing ships gather food at different rates, and the shorefish is very inefficient unless you're using villagers to gather from it. I do love this. It's oh so very safe. He's got the deer right next to him. But check out this scout micro from Morium here. If we look at his perspective with all those llamas spreading out everywhere, he's getting a lot of vision. Now, what I would like to know is how on earth it's possible to scout with livestock, because the way I always interpret it in Age of Empires 2 is that your scout cavalry is communicating information to you. You are this, like, omnipotent king guy who's managing your empire, or you're the queen, and the scout is routinely relaying information to you. You know, it makes sense. Perhaps he spies this gold mine. He's like, my liege, there's a gold mine to the north of your base. How does a llama do that? I don't know.
Yes.
Can you talk to animals? Not exactly sure how that works out. I would also like to know, if someone could look this up for me, if llamas actually do have better eyesight than sheep and turkeys and goats. I wonder if there's a historical basis for that. It makes sense to me, I guess, that cows would give more food, because cows are, of course, the larger animal. And also, yeah, that just makes sense to me. But this I'm not so sure about. Is there some sort of basis for llamas actually having excellent eyesight compared to general livestock? I would love to know. John Fisk says, Civs and Aoe2 are hive minds is how. Indeed, indeed. Of course, this game is not known for its historical accuracy, but that's why I love it. Some historical accuracy to it, but also, you know, the Chinese don't get hand cannoneers for balance reasons. Balance came first. Balance and gameplay always came first for Ensemble Studios, as opposed to history. And that's one of the reasons why I think Age of Empires 2 is such a good game, because they recognize that. Because in reality, history was not balanced at all. There are plenty of civilizations that did not make the cut in the Middle Ages. And what's really good about this game is that the Mongols are, you know, just as OP in Age of Empires 2 as they were in real life, so good to see that in action. B-Sider Romance says, llamas have epic eyesight and hearing and are used as guard animals by some people. That's fantastic! Thank you for letting me know. I totally believe it. Llamas are a really cool animal. Togoroxis, llamas are taller so they can see further. I do suppose that's one way to look at it, yes. Heisenberg AoE says, you need to consider that every few seconds an AoE is a year. Pete says, but horses have shit line of sight doesn't add up. That is one of the most annoying mechanics in Age of Empires 2, is that the horse unit actually has bad, like, line of sight, which makes it really frustrating if you get a horse in MegaRandom, because you have to scout around. And it just has, like, no line of sight at all. So, Memoriam is doing one cute little thing, which is he finished the dock with this villager. Might as well gather 10 food from the shorefish before walking your villager back. It's little things like this that give you a tiny incremental advantage over your course of the game, and has built Memoriam's elo all the way up to the 1900 range, so good to see that in action. Yeah, see, Mongols were OP until like 1300 AD, chat says, but in Age of Empires 2, I don't know how late this game goes in the whole timeline scale, but the Mongols' late game is batshit crazy, so... Indeed, John Fist. Game not entirely historically accurate, but fun to see regardless. So, everyone has probably noticed at this point that everyone else is docked. Let's take a look at the eco balance here. I think these players are going to have difficulty maintaining competitive advancement times, considering it's like a MegaRandom map. And it's also a water map, so they're still trying to get used to that. His deer are bad. He's not going to be able to gather from them, but Memoriam's got one crazy, crazy fish boom. In fact, all these players do. Let's go take a look at how many fishing ships he has. 11 active fishing ships and 1 idle. Go to the Twestmobile. Is on 10. Okay, so he's very close. And Jomnal is on 8. And Leo is on 7. Somehow I actually did that in order. What? Regardless, Memoriam very serious about his fish boom. Burmese are okay on water maps because the free double bid axe really helps to sustain ship production. Speaking of competitive feudal age times for a nomad map, that is respectable. Leo, my friend. Well played. He's the Turks, so no Dark Age eco bonus that really comes into play. The faster gold mining, though, will allow him to... It helps with the galley rush a little bit. The Turks are, of course, one of the most gold-dependent, if not the most gold-dependent civs in the game, but it's a team game, so he should probably be fine. Is he going to make, like, a Fire Galley or something like that, or is he just going to go straight to Castle Age? It looks like, yes, he's going to go straight to Castle Age here. Blacksmith Market coming down to fulfill his building requirements. And he's on his way to Castle very soon. Does need to build another house, though. Putting a 4th villager on gold. Does that signify knights to us? We'll have to keep our eyes peeled. Meanwhile, Memoriam going to make that difficult exchange. He's decided that he's going to slow down his advancement time to the Feudal Age, of course, in exchange for significantly more fishing ships. Barracks coming down for him, so we do expect to see some early aggression from Memoriam, or at least he's prepping to defend against it. Meanwhile, Jomnal is going for what? He's on his way to the Feudal Age. No barracks yet from him, yet to reveal his hand. 2 docks. So 3 docks here makes me think that Memoriam is making some sort of ships, right? And Leo is clearly not, as Leo is only on 1 dock. Okay. So he's going land. Twest might be making boats. Let's go give that a look. Yes. Okay, so he's going to go for Fire Galleys to try and take Leo off the water. This is actually be pretty huge. This is a situation that I often find myself in. Oh, we might actually see a quick War Galley tech coming out from Leo. At some point as a topic for a video, I do want to talk about the importance of the War Galley technology and how absolutely insane it is from a cost efficiency standpoint. War Galley is crazy as a power spike. I think that the current water metagame hasn't been necessarily... It basically depends heavily on the map. It really does. It's whether Fire Galleys or Galleys are better. The longer the rush distance and the more you massive your Galleys, the better they do match up. But really, in the expansions, the Castle Age is huge. Huge on water maps, because the War Galley technology upgrades all your ships. It upgrades your demo rafts into demo ships, your Fire Galleys into fire ships, and your galleys into War Galleys. So you're getting a ton of value out of that. That's also cutting the creation speed significantly. It's like almost in half from the galley to War Galley, so that's really big. Generally, is very decisive in these DLC water games. Meanwhile, we see the Fire Galleys. I mean, due to the short rush distance, and since no one's actually massing up the galleys, I think the Fire Galleys are the way to go here. Would like to see a little bit of a demo raft shot, but it only depends if they're clumped up. Good control here by Teal. Manages to keep his Fire Galley alive on 1 HP, which should be an achievement, and snipe it off while this guy's chasing him. Is Leo going for the fire ship technology? Aharbashas, I have a question. What's the reasoning behind the tree smaller than usual? So this makes it easier to see units that are behind it. A lot of people use this mod called Pussywood, which you can find on the Steam Workshop. You can also use it if you play on Boobly, so... I don't like it purely for aesthetic reasons, but people kept asking me to use them, so I have the mod installed. I do recommend it if you're playing, but I do think it looks ridiculous. It's a difficult problem to solve from a design standpoint. If you want trees that look like trees rather than a bonsai garden, will they obscure units behind them? Even if you can see the outline, it's not a great solution. So, you know, it's food for thought. It's much easier to design your space game with rocks than it is with trees. JT Luminous also makes it easier to see those pesky holes. You'd think it's supposed to, and yet everyone always has a hole in their wall. So, fire ship out for Leo, really putting emphasis on that Castle Age upgrade, and it is paying dividends. While Twest has the higher score, he is on the run. The Malay, an excellent water civilization. Advancing to the ages faster is very huge, and of course they got a ton of little dock bonuses, but this civ is okay on the land too. I mean, it's got, the faster aging is good no matter what map you're playing, and the two-handed swordsmen that don't cost gold in the late game is great too, and this civ can do, you know, fairly good just Imperial Age into Arbalests, Rams, etc. Good civ. Sorry if I missed a couple of people's questions. I wasn't really taking them last game because I sometimes try to make my commentary more topical, but this one I'll be taking at least a few more questions. I try to take the majority of them between games though to keep the flow of things going, but I also like to keep the conversation going and make sure that I'm answering people's questions because usually people ask good ones. So, Leo, still with a decisive advantage here. If we go to Twest's perspective, He is on his way to the Castle Age, and I think that's when he's going to make a decisive play. Right now he's just kind of stalling for time, kiting these around, trying to mitigate his losses. I didn't finish this talking point earlier, but a situation that I'm often in is I want a fast Castle Age, I'm on the flank, even on like a water map, right? Because I want to get my economy going. I know the longer the game goes, since my macro is really good, that I'm more likely to win, because my micro is a bit weaker, my Feudal Age is too, so I like to play to my own strengths, go to the Castle Age, and then sometimes I get punished really hard, in that my opponent will come in here, he'll get the units, and he'll really cripple my economy on a water map because I won't have anything to protect my fishing ships. And what this means is that when I get to the Castle Age, I have no money at all. My economy is totally screwed up because I had no food gatherers. I was very dependent on those fishing ships. And we see here, Twest going for the divide and conquer, going to pick off all those fishing ships. And now Leo, I mean, he has like no food gatherers whatsoever. This is going to be very tricky for him. Meanwhile, T-West's kind of in the same situation, but he has more farms, so that's probably fine. Meanwhile, well, it looks like Memoriam has the decisive lead here. Jomnal really, really far behind, despite his insane map. I think he's on his way to the Castle Age now, and he's going to make some knights. I think if you lose the water this badly, you do want to go for land. Otherwise, the only way to claw your way back in the water is probably with like a castle on the shoreline. She's fixing her hair, says it's pretty impressive how much attention you pay to the chat. Well, thank you, she's fixing her hair. I mean, I think that the interaction is really important to me. Why stream if you're not going to read the chat? Also, we have a great community here. I mean, like, everybody has their moments in life where they're, like, stressed, sad, frustrated, angry, and I want my stream to be kind of an escape from that. This should be a great place to make friends with me and everyone else in the chat, and bond over the things that make us happy. And for me, that's Age of Empires 2 in every game I make videos for. So, yeah. This should be your little escape. And also, I want people to feel like they're in an environment where it's okay to ask questions, it's okay to learn. And if I wasn't taking questions from the chat ever, then people would, people would not be able to learn as well. So anyway, does Leo have... But also there's a happy balance, and sometimes I really like to focus on actually just the commentary. So I was hoping there was a demo ship in there. Yeah, I feel like he should make one, because he's like so far This is also a way to claw your way back in the water, but it's difficult. You have to detonate the demo shot like really, really carefully. Jomnal says Red Siege Workshop. I mean, this is really terrible for Jomnal. Super far behind the Castle Age. He's down, but he's not out. He's the Magyars. This is a civ that needs buffs. I don't think it's terrible, but it does need buffs. He's got so much... I mean, Leo's got 600 gold in the bank, but he's the Turks, so that's the eco bonus in action. Well, I guess, yeah, Jomnal does need this many gold miners, because he isn't floating much gold, so good on him. Making some knights. Now, maybe he can catch Memoriam off guard here. This is going to be huge. He's got the free blacksmith upgrades. Memoriam did go heavy on the ships, so this is your chance. This is your comeback mechanic. And he's the Burmese. He has no camels, so he doesn't have like a clean answer to this. But of course, he's the Burmese, so he doesn't have a clean, stable-related answer. He does indeed have the monastery. Great monks. 50% discount on those monastery technologies. Going to be huge here. But Jomnal has the upper hand. He's got iron casting, which we established in the last video is very important in these engagements. He might have iron casting, but no bloodlines and no defense upgrades is going to be quite hard for him too. Memoriam has both of those. Got bloodlines, +1 defense. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Twest moving into some fire ships. EV5 says it'd be super cool if Aoe has sunken treasure ships, where fishing ships can collect gold from the sea. Upgrade could even be the diving bell. That would be an interesting mechanic. I love this game. I think that there is always extra design space to explore. That's a thought. Maybe make a scenario or a campaign with something like that. Be interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what I would do with the Magyars, but I think I would make it so their scout bonus was, you know, the 10% discount, 15%, 20%. Something like that. I think that would be the buff I would suggest, but... I mean, I'm open to ideas. Ooh, a lot of idle fishing ships here, but it looks like you will be reassigning that. So, definitive water control for T-West. Leo a little bit on the back foot here. But meanwhile, on the other side, Jomnal does not have any water control at all. But I think he can use this as an opportunity to get some back. Now that Memoriam has had to focus more on land units, perhaps Jomnal, by building another dock, will be able to actually bolster his economy a bit. I mean, especially because T-West has definitive water control here, so I think he can get away with this. Get some fish, really boom back. Because right now, with only 2 town centers, he's a little bit behind. But the Magyars, I mean, he's playing to his strengths. They've got an excellent night rush, excellent scout rush, a really wide open tech tree. you know, if the Civ doesn't get totally stomped early on, if you're taking advantage of everything that the Civ has to offer, particularly Magyar Hussars, I think you need to be using them a lot of the time to really get full value out of the Magyars as a Civ. You need to use all of their awesome tech trip. And the Magyar Hussar is so good because it doesn't cost any gold once you get the mercenary upgrade for it. It's a Hussar with better combat stats and an attack bonus versus siege. That's great late game value. You can kind of attrition your opponent out as the Magyars if you can somehow get there, because you don't really have an early game eco bonus besides the scout discount. Thank you so much, Project Belgium, for hosting me for 69 viewers. Really appreciate it. Project Belgium, thank you. Yeah. I do like Magyar Cav Archers too in the late game. I think the Cavalry Archers are an interesting unit that I could probably do a video on. Underrated, but the metagame is the metagame for a reason. I do really like recurve bow, though. And I want to play around with that more, because that's fun. Actually, getting Heavy Cavalry Archer reduces the training time of Cavalry Archers, I believe, from 34 to 27 seconds. I'm extremely nerdy, so I know these things, but I might not be nerdy enough to have those exact values correct, so... It's close! Morium has definitive control of the middle. It's got the llamas, man. Nice, nice, nice. Look at all these fishing ships. Yeah. I mean, major props to Joan All for bringing it back. He's only on 2 TCs, but then again, I think Red is 2. I mean, I question what was really going on here. I feel like Red ended up losing a lot of his fishing ships to Teal, which messed up his eco, and he also made so many boats that Joe Null immediately knew when to switch gears. Lost the water really hard. Go full on the land. Joe Null is just behind an eco. Yeah, and he's building it back up. This is nice. This is nice. Meanwhile, it looks like Red... Is Red slinging blue? I don't think that's the way to go. I think Red needs to make some military in it. But he will claw his way back into the water. This is where that gold mine positioning is bad. And I think that this is good for him to do that. His castle, I believe, is all the way on the high ground, so it's not going to be taking extra damage, which is quite nice. Look at these jukes. This will help him protect his gold mine, get the water back, which Memoriam needs, and somehow this team is bringing it back. T-West with the water control, and we see how important that is. Having all those fishing ships to bolster your economy. Here comes 2 lumberjacks. Where are they going? Well, the castle is down. So we'll let him make some boats. Let's go back to Memoriam's perspective and see if he's going to make any ships now. He might have honestly just been doing that primarily for the gold mine, I think. I would probably stonewall this area, I think. Maybe he needs another town center. Yeah, to be honest... Okay, good, yeah. Great minds think alike. Here comes Memoriam with another town center. I felt like his eco could use a little bit more polishing, and I think it's just because he spent the stone on the castle. You do want at least 100 villagers every game. And you want to get there as quickly as you can without making strategic sacrifices. Welcome, and Theo Genico. Because, yeah, sometimes you are going to want to make cuts to your economy and focus on making military instead to pressure your opponent. But whenever you have the opportunity, and it makes sense, you need to make more villagers, more town centers, to constantly sustain military production. Handcart coming down from Memoriam. 60 villagers, that is acceptable. Meanwhile, Leo with the archer rangers in this base to try and back him up. And this is because Leo is, of course, in the Imperial Age with the Turks, gets that free chemistry upgrade. So he's going to start reinforcing with hand cannoneers. Now, this is pretty bold, that he's splitting his attention between here, and Journal's score is very bad, despite him being the aggressor here. And I feel like that's just because his eco is too small. Splitting his attention like this when T-West is so strong is a bit of a risk, but he'll probably be able to get away with it. Bombard cannons as well should be able to help him take out these war galleys. So I think I like Leo's decision-making here. I feel like getting to the Imperial Age as the Turks is absolutely essential, so you can start leveraging those bonuses. Bombard cannons, great comeback mechanics, so you should be able to snap those off. Is that a bombard tower? Not bad, my friend. This is aggressive. Building this castle here. This does not protect any part of his eco. I actually don't like this castle placement, to be honest. I think I would have put it here, but he would have needed a bombard cannon first. I think he's just putting these down for early conscription and or trebs or something, but this doesn't protect any of his eco. Doesn't even apply that much defensive pressure. He's actually going to get this castle up. This is so sad. Come on, man. You got this, Leo. Get that. Yes. All right. So he gets the castle up. He's also doing this so he can just keep moving the battle line forward. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that castle placement. I feel like it's very aggressive. You know, could easily get trebbed down. It's not protecting any of his eco. I would have put my castle over here or something, just to protect it. I like to always at least have one defensive castle, but this will allow him to reinforce himself a little bit easier, or at least I would have put it here to protect the gold mine, but he would have needed a bombard cannon first, I guess, which is why he didn't do that. He's backing up Memoriam over here. Ooh, big mangonel shot from Jomnal. Gets both monks taken out with that elevation advantage. That's a disaster. Memoriam, I have no idea how you fell so far behind here, and yet he still has the higher score. Jomnal bringing it back, showing us that the Magyars are so average. Theogenico says, is there a collaboration with Mem incoming? I've heard whispers. Yeah, Mem is one of the casters that I haven't actually done any formal co-casting with. I have done some videos with him, but yeah, I mean, Mem is welcome to join me on my stream sometime, and I'll do a co-cast with him, sure. I don't have that much time these days to, you know, join people on their respective channels because I work 9 to 5 in order to eat, but yeah, I mean, Memb is, I've extended the invitation. Memb is welcome to join me for a co-cast. There are a few people who work as hard as he does. I recognize that, you know, his commentary style isn't for everybody, and I think that's totally fine. You gotta respect him as a person at least, but if you don't like his commentary, that's fair. Everyone has their own different tastes, so it's not like it's something I would do regularly, but I know that some people also really like it too, so we're gonna do it at least once. For the variety. So if you don't like it, don't worry about it, and if you do, hope you're excited. Thank you so much. Did I miss a subscription? Did I actually? I might have missed yours, MLZK, for 3 months, but thank you, MLZK. Yeah. Iceberg Amy says, when you play the Magyars and don't use their flush bonuses and don't use their unique unit, they're average? Yes. You got to pressure your opponent in the Feudal Age, I think. I mean, in the Castle Age, they can pressure people too, and then really, you definitely want to use their unique unit in their army. This is a civ that I encourage people to play around with. They have the tech tree, they have the tools. Their knights are very bad on stand ground, though, versus hand cannoneers, so Jomnal gonna pull it back. Leo playing like an octopus on both sides of the map, pushing in. Look at these, look at this Korean control on both sides. I am surprised he's getting away with this, but, you know, T-West has a colossal navy, which is most of his population, if I'm being honest. As a result, he doesn't have that much pop space for land units. Now, he can certainly bully blue from the land. Leo does have to back up. This makes it so hard to push. T-West, with this definitive water control, the way this map is set up, it's kind of like a coastal style. Get some cannon galleons here, you might even be able to win the game straight from the water. So what we're going to need from Leo here is a priority on the ballistics upgrade. Damn. He's going to need artillery and ballistics ASAP and just mass bombard cannons to claw his way back into the water. But he's on a timer because as soon as this cannon galleon moves slightly closer, it's elite cannon galleons too. Yeesh. This castle placement becomes really terrible. So he's also going to want fletching and maybe heated shot. But really, the most important upgrades here are going to be artillery. This is also why I wouldn't have put this here. But it's easy for me to say this, of course. And it's just for your own reference. He's going to go harbors. This is the first video that I've actually seen harbors really in action. Harbors were so OP when they came out, but they're a lot weaker now. They've been nerfed so hard. Hey. Mevi says his commentary is fun. You mean Mems or mine, or both? And glad to hear it. So, repairing this castle, gonna drain a lot of stone. We need artillery. Prano Tano. So, Leo. Is he researching artillery? Yes, he is, and he will get it out in time. And he's even repairing his bombard cannons. But does he have... Oh, God. Does he have the ballistics upgrade? I honestly can't tell. I can't gauge the difference at a glance. This I have not really seen much, where he's repairing his bombard cannons, so they're actually kind of tanking the shots, and he actually got a couple extra shots off, so that's pretty nice. Meanwhile, we're experiencing a little bit of HD lag. Get the mango for me. Nice. Yeah, I mean, this game, TOS showing us how important water control is. Did I say coastal style map? This is a Mediterranean style map. Very tired today, guys. Oh, the Federation, it didn't appear in my dashboard. I'm sorry about that. Thank you so much, the Federation 1, for subscribing. It's not listed in my dashboard. That's really weird. Thank you, though. If I miss anyone's sub or donation, please let me know. It is important. Ay. I don't know how this happened. This is, What a twist. Do I have to go in and edit this one too? To make it seem like these guys won? I mean, what's going on? T-West. I mean, blue hasn't even managed to get in through these walls at all. Now, one thing I would have done... Ooh, this is actually... Oh, this is not open. Oh, and the Turks don't have onagers, so he can't cut through this without using trebs. Disaster. And he can't get in here. Absolute disaster. What else been... Oh god, all these cannon galleons. I mean... Blue's just gonna need 15 trillion bombard cannons with artillery and ballistics to come out on top here. And he could. He could. He's the Turks. With the artillery bonus, these things have, what, 14 range, which is basically the best bet that you can have versus cannon galleons. You can almost always kill them. So he needs to focus on building like 10 siege workshops, massing them out. And this is again why this is where my first castle would have been, but it didn't really matter. He needed this one anyway for some sort of offensive pressure. Here comes the Arbalest. Good to see him making use of his tech tree. Burmese battle elephants. I feel like battle elephants are fine here. It doesn't look like there are any helps at all, actually, from purple. Doesn't look like he's teched into it at all. And the battle elephant is pretty good versus Arbs. Might allow him to push in. Feudal Memoriam, even though he is on the back foot now, should be able to push through this. As long as but he needs to be careful, though. He needs to actually mass up those battle elephants. I mean, he just has no real substance to his army. You know, he just has siege weapons and like 2 monks. Meanwhile, here comes the Arbs. Yes, Magyar is nice, nice, nice. Missing a lot of upgrades, but still this unit is sick value. You can really starve your opponent out of gold. Meanwhile, here comes the Harbors. Holy shit. And this thing is so hard to balance and so disgustingly broken. You can see some footage. It's not broken anymore, I don't think, but you can see some footage in my Malay civilization overview. Link in the description below if you wanted to see what this used to be like. This thing is so hard to balance because it's a fortification that doesn't cost stone, it only costs wood. So you just spam them like crazy. I mean, here they're super easy to remove. I believe the Malay don't have architecture, so that makes it a lot weaker. I mean, what happened to blue? He just needs to mass these up. Like, this does not work if you don't have like 4 siege workshops constantly building bombard cannons. Bombard towers don't work here either. I think he just needs to focus on making the siege workshops. He needs to make like a ton of them, but it's easier for me to say. The LNS, what's in the middle of the map? The most important strategic piece of land. Iceberg Amy says, what do you think about the idea of cutting through trees in the mangonel line? Should be a technology and not something that auditors have specifically. It's a thought. I think that's one of the meaningful drawbacks of the Huns and Turks. I mean, I like the change as a whole, that auditors can cut through trees, because as a guy I used to play a lot of like super competitive high elo Black Forest on Voobly like Mem does. It felt really frustrating to me if the opposing team had a siege onager civ and we didn't. Oftentimes it felt like it was a huge, like, unless our team was insane, the rest of their team civs were trash. It felt super unfair that you couldn't cut, but they could. If they had like a Mongols on their team, it's just, I don't know, like, once you get to a certain elo on Black Forest, people really take advantage of that, and it was just, felt like cheating in some cases. So I like that. I feel like it means that in Black Forest there are significantly fewer civs. I'm unhappy with randoming, and the Huns and the Turks have their own perks. So I think that's fine. Obviously it has its other balance implications, but for Black Forest, for me, it opened up the meta a lot, and it's something I like. So Teal doesn't... I mean, damn, here comes the Arbs. I don't know, Blue just fell apart at the seams. I feel like he had such a good game plan. I love his decision to go to Imp. Red as well fell apart at the seams. Really had what I thought was almost an insurmountable early lead over Joe Nall, but you can't discount this guy. Not bad, not bad. He's missing a lot of upgrades, but the Memoriam is kind of holding the line, but he's just getting raided so hard by these Arbs. Yes, they are going to call it GG. Memoriam is going to resign. Well played, Joe Nall and Twest taking these guys out. The Malay actually have bombard towers, which is weird. I think it's important that they have bombard cannons at least as a civ. Otherwise, they wouldn't really work because they have very few actual like hardcore pushing units at their disposal. They're a quantity over quality civ. Bombard towers, the fact that they have them is interesting. I don't know if they actually need them, but it does give them the ability to push, because otherwise the civ would be super duper lopsided. So, interesting little decision there. But thank God they don't have architecture. GG, well played. So here's one of the first few examples of harbors being used in a game, because really this doesn't come up that often. But again, wasn't decisive in the slightest, but it is interesting to see this. So, reasonable example. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this. If you did, please do take the time to leave a thumbs up. So, checking out the achievements here. Memoriam lost quite a few buildings, but the conversions here I think were important. Army size pretty small. Major props to these guys for keeping it up, and we see the importance of the Navy in action. I wonder if Memoriam crippled himself by slinging Leo. I mean, that allowed Leo to get to the Imperial Age quicker, and hopefully, I think Memoriam was banking on that kind of killing T-West, but the way the map was set up, it was very difficult for Leo to push in and actually apply the killing blow, so I wonder if this crippled him. Because this meant that Memoriam was not able to beat Jom Nal anymore, perhaps underestimating the Nal. Got jomed. Needed all that money probably to invest in his own war. Difficult to say. Easy for us to say in retrospect. What is nice, though, is that everyone had a sufficiently sized economy by the later stages of the game. Everyone had more than 100 villagers. Very, very nice, yeah. What a map indeed. I'm just disappointed that the middle little island with the 2 llamas on it, which Memoriam had definitive control over, was not something that was super important. I wanted like 10 relics on there. The forests were pretty imbalanced. That's for sure. Yeah, since even though Twest's map was bad that I mentioned earlier, if he had so much map control like he did, and he walled like that far forward, actually his forest was insane, as we saw later, because there was no gap on the other side, so... If he was being like heavily pressured early, it was bad, but I guess since the water map, he totally got away with it, and he walled further forward than I thought he would. So in that sense, nuts. Jom Nal's map was also nuts. Aha! Indeed, Memoriam. I am impressed with these guys. You guys all played well. Everyone did. Memoriam, Jom Nal, Leo, T-West. Thank you guys for watching the live stream today. And I hope to see you all next week. We're going to run a quick ad. If you enjoyed the live stream, I'd appreciate it if you check out the YouTube channel where I post all of the best matches from the live stream, as well as if you checked out my social media pages, Facebook and Twitter. I do post there from time to time. And yeah, thank you for being awesome. Yeah, the Cannon Galleons are pretty nuts. If Leo had $1 million and infinite population, everything, if Leo was able to control the water, having the artillery, elite Cannon Galleons, would have been nuts, so. Yep. They were watching. See you all next week. Marksman says he modified the Japanese Trebs to 25 range and they're OP. Send that mod to Spirit of the Law. I bet he would love that one. GG, well played, guys. Thank you, Tobes. Much appreciated. Oh, and welcome to Stream to Doobdah. Alright, toodles, everybody. Have a wonderful day.